Hello viewers, this video is a narrated essay discovering the relationship between epistemic indulgence and misinformation. A link to the actual essay is in the description, as well as links to another short introduction to the concept of epistemic indulgence and a published research paper discussing the concept within the framework of self-guided learners using online resources and virtual communities to learn to play the guitar. The internet has been a game changer in the field of education, bringing about the advent of online learning and the availability of a vast array of internet-based resources. The COVID-19 pandemic has further accelerated this trend, leading to an unprecedented growth in online education. Recent research suggests online learning, also known as e-learning, offers new opportunities for both formal and informal learning systems, providing educators with a wider range of resources to choose from. This has enabled educators to overcome the limitations of traditional materials and offer a more diverse range of learning experiences to students. Al-Fahid and colleagues claim the pedagogical advantages of this shift are many and varied, with educators no longer being constrained by the materials directly belonging to them or their institutions. Furthermore, this wider selection of resources and media styles offered through e-learning has also enabled a greater diversity of learners to be served, thereby enriching education globally. Prior to the internet, academic fields of knowledge, particularly those influenced by postmodern philosophy and critical theory, were not very easily accessible by the general public. Learning in these fields had to be instructed through well-constructed curricula and included formative assessment and scaffolded learning. This instruction was only available from a certain few academic elites and to a certain few academic students who could afford the university education and had succeeded in the long path to access the education. Open access has had a dramatic change to the concept of knowledge, and anyone can indulge themselves in self-guided online learning in almost any topic. This has epistemological implications. E-learners can dictate their own epistemology through the resources they select in a form of epistemic indulgence. Scientific journal articles have a certain style that makes them not readily accessible to people untrained in a particular field. Idiosyncratic language, complex statistical presentations, methodological peculiarities, and a dry passive voice abound in these articles, making them difficult to read. What has occurred via the internet is a democratization of information, allowing younger and less trained people to think they have, or at least can access, the same level of knowledge as their forebears, without necessarily having the epistemology to discern the content of their newfound knowledge. The internet is also enabling people to give out information who previously would not have been able to do so freely. Scammers and fakers abound. Science has a recognised problem in being unable to readily engage with lay audiences and people who aren't necessarily going to read a journal article or even potentially be able to understand one. The internet has opened the door for snake oil salesmen and people selling unorthodox agendas and political ideals to appear scientifically supported. They can deliberately use misinformation by making it sound authentic and thus bypassing the end user's epistemic discretion by appealing to the listener's biases. This moment in human history is unprecedented regarding the availability of quality scientific information and, conversely, unscientific misinformation that mischievously appears equally valid. This entails the need for greater prominence of the voices who are telling the correct and right information, regardless of political or sociological biases. The previous gatekeepers of knowledge have been destroyed. This is potentially a very good situation, allowing us to indulge in knowledge acquisition like never before. However, as this lets in the snake oil salesman, as McCarthy states, it's up to you, now that the gatekeepers have been destroyed, to be your very own gatekeeper, and thereby develop epistemic discretion. Thanks for listening. As I said earlier, there's a link to this essay in the description below, as well as links to another short introduction to the concept of epistemic indulgence and a research paper recently published which discusses epistemic indulgence from the perspective of self-guided learners using online resources and virtual communities to learn to play the guitar.